The payment for the demolition of the old house was received, totaling 550,000 yuan. I immediately went to the bank and transferred 150,000 yuan to my own card for retirement. The remaining 400,000 yuan was prepared for my daughter. After completing the procedures, I went to the vegetable market to buy my granddaughter's favorite roast duck. Seeing the gift, the two children were overjoyed. My granddaughter dutifully helped me beat my back. Just as I was enjoying the joy of family, I picked up my phone and glanced at the number. I saw that it was my son's, and I didn't want to answer it. But after thinking about it for a while, "Dad, here we are. I just arrived." "I know what you're asking. Didn't I say it 2 years ago? Since you're watching your daughter-in-law bully me without asking. I don't have your son. The demolition funds are all your sister's. It's none of your business." After listening to my words, my son immediately became anxious, and his voice became much louder. "Dad, how can you do this? Since ancient times, the family's property has been his son's. How can we share it with his daughter? Don't make trouble. My wife and I plan to change to a big house. You give me the money and move to my house." I hung up the phone before he finished speaking. "You should know. He has been talking about filial piety to me countless times since he was young. Especially after getting married. He has deceived me many times and said to me, 'Dad, what money do you need for our retirement in the future? We are in a difficult situation. You gave us the money to help us solve our urgent needs.' My wife and I believed it to be true, and gave him almost all our assets, including 300,000 yuan in savings, retirement pension, and even brought up 2 children. However, 2 years ago, my wife passed away due to overwork and illness. They saw that I had no money left and didn't need me to take care of my children anymore. You know, in order to help them live a good life, besides my ancestral home, I had no money left on me. When they drove me away, in desperation, I had to cry and call my daughter for help. I have to say that my wife is really visionary, although she loves her son as much as I do. To be ashamed. I also have a slight preference for boys over girls. I always feel that my daughter belongs to someone else's family, and believe that I only need to raise her up to fulfill my obligations. When my daughter wants to continue her studies, and take the postgraduate entrance examination after finishing C. When my daughter got married, my son-in-law gave me a dowry of 100,000 yuan. Originally, I wanted to stay and give it to my son. But after being scolded by my wife, after receiving my call, my daughter and son-in-law arrived at their son's house within 20 minutes. After listening to my crying, my son-in-law picked up my son without saying a word, ordered him to hand over my social security card. Before leaving, feeling extremely cold, I made it clear to the crowd that I had severed my father-son relationship with him. From now on, you are no longer my son. Sitting in the car heading towards my son-in-law's house, I was actually feeling uneasy, worried that his parents would have any objections to my past retirement. Fortunately, my in-laws were very reasonable. When my daughter returned, I handed her the bank card that had saved 400,000 yuan. However, she hesitated and dared not take it. She said to me, upon hearing my daughter's words, I became even more angry. Just as I was about to call my son to help her scold her back, I heard a knock at the door. My daughter quickly went to open the door. "Wang Ling, where is the demolition payment? Hand it over. Do you want to be shameless? Do you understand the rules of the water splashed out by your married daughter?" There was a loud slap, and a slap fell on my son's face. It wasn't just me who did it. I pulled my daughter behind me, and gave my son a hard slap in the face. "Who are you insulting? I'm not dead yet. So you dare to bully my daughter in front of me? As soon as my son said Dad, I mercilessly interrupted. Don't call me Dad. I told you 2 years ago that I don't have a son anymore. And I have informed my relatives and friends about this matter. Therefore, you are not my son, and naturally have nothing to do with the demolition payment. Let's go. My son refused to leave, tugging at me and crying uncontrollably. Dad, I was wrong. I shouldn't have done this to you. I really know I was wrong. We didn't actually come to ask for money. I wanted to shake off his hand, but he pulled it tightly, and my hand was reddened. When I heard him crying and apologizing to his daughter-in-law, after half an hour, my son-in-law returned and saw the battle at the door, asking me what was wrong. I pointed to my son and daughter-in-law and said, Xiao Gang? Dad,